Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshushuvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshtarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vishnubhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all of you. In the same chapter we will proceed with the next one very important verse now. I'll just share with all of you just a minute. You can see this. This is 13.5. We were reading in the previous section about, the Kshetra and Kshetrajna. So, a quick recap from the previous class, so that we will know what we are doing now. I had mentioned that in this body, there is a resident of this body, and there is a president of this body also. You are the resident of your body, and the president of the body is the super soul, the Lord in your heart. And both are addressed by the same name, Kshetrajna. Kshetra means field, Kshetrajna means knower of the field. So, I had told you about the differences between the two. Quick recap. Anybody remembers? What are the differences between the two Kshetrajnas, the two conscious beings situated in the body? Last time, one of them I remember was very nicely summarizing. Anybody remembers? Yeah? The difference between the two conscious personalities in any living body? Yeah? Anybody? Because today I am planning to proceed with the next another verse, but I just wanted to be sure that you also gather every time you come some pearls of wisdom and you carry forward. Yeah. Paramatma, okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Yes, Tarun, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are two living beings situated, and first is the Kshetrajna, who is knower of this body, who is
Correct.
the knower of this field of activities, only one body, and the
Yes.
other Kshetrajna is the knower of the field of all the fields, like super
Exactly.
soul.
Very good. That was the main thing I was looking for. Thank you, Tarun. So Tarun said that point, that I am knower of my body, you are knower of your body. If you are hungry, you will know it. If I have a headache, I will know it. But I can't know about your hunger, you can't know about my headache, isn't it? So we all are knowers of our own bodies, whereas the other Kshetrajna, the Paramatma, he is knower of all the bodies. See, all of you devotees, you may wonder why we are dwelling on this subject so seriously. If you understand this chapter, 13th chapter, it's going to be immensely helpful for you to know who you are and what are the tools that God has given you, and how are you currently using the tools, and how are you causing hurt and harm to yourself, and how you can modify your way you use these tools that God has given you and make your life a lot more happier, both in this world and in the life after death also. So it's immensely helpful. Therefore, we are going a bit slow. And I like Tarun's answer. Brilliant. Anybody else want to add to that? So Tarun made one point that I am knower of my body, you are knower of your body, God is knower of all the bodies. Anything else comes to your mind, any of you? About the difference between the two Kshetrajnas?
Yes, Prabhuji, you also shared that we are the analogy of resident and president. Like president uh, is a lord and resident are allowed to live, so we are the residents.
We are like a tenant in this body, and
Yeah.
Lord has given us the facility of this body, and so we are like a tenant occupying the body. Very good. And in what ways is God superior who is seated in our body? Huh? We are also seated, He is seated. In what way is He superior to us? Anybody? Two of them have answered. Tarun has answered, Deepak has answered. I would like to hear from others.
So, Prabhu.
Yes,
Okay.
Yog, yeah, yes.
So last time you said that he is the maintainer, controller, and allotter of the body. We have just
Yes,
allotted the body.
very good. He is the allotter, he is the maintainer, he is the controller. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha. That comes in another place. Huh? He is the Supreme Lord. He is the one who awarded us his body, bodily field. Huh? And he is the controller. And very good, brilliant. Thank you, Sir. Thank you. And I gave one example. Anybody remembers? Now, what Siyog said is the correct answer. Anybody remembers an example in that connection? Lord
Um,
is master, we are servant, and he is the director, allotter, maintainer, supervisor, everything he does in this body, and we are subordinate to him. And for this, I gave one example. Anybody remembers?
Father and son.
Father and son. That's also the correct example. Like a father accompanying the son, taking him to the park. Huh? Sometimes he's coming down the slide, he's enjoying. Sometimes he's sitting in a seesaw and hurts his back. He suffers. So we are like the son who is sometimes hurt, sometimes happy. But Father is accompanying us. That is Lord. That is one good example. Another example? Anybody remembers another example?
Barber in the saloon example.
Mm. Oh, that is actually, I gave that example for field and the knower of the field. Huh? Like a barber is the knower of the field, and his field is the saloon shop. Huh? Or a child is the knower of the field, and his domain is the sandbox in which multiple games are available for him to play. So that is given for the example of knower and the knower of the field, uh, knower of the field and the field. But now what I'm asking is, Lord and the Jiva are two knowers in this body, and how the Lord is, you know, in all the bodies, whereas the Jiva is only in one body. Like I'm in my
no,
body, you are in your body. Further, I gave one example also.
Prabhuji, you gave the example of Big Patel and Small Patel.
That is father and son example. Both are Patel. Similarly, we are Atma, God is Paramatma. We are Brahman, God is Parabrahman. Uh, that example I gave for father and son. That's correct. But I gave one another example also I gave. Yes, from Brooklyn, yeah.
The farmer and king.
Correct. That's the example. Yeah. Can you explain that?
Sorry, no.
Can you explain?
So how the king allots the land to all the farmers, and like according to their free will, they sow whatever the crop they want to sow, and they get the yield, and the farmer enjoys the yield. But as the king is observing everything, all the farmers, like what are they,
Very good.
which
Very
crop
good.
they
So your
are growing.
example is, you explained the example perfectly. Now equivalent you have to say. Now who is the king? Who is the farmer? What is the
So
cultivated?
similarly, the soul is the farmer, and the super soul is the king. So the
Yes.
soul is doing all the activities in this body, but the
Yes.
super soul is observing everything, and he's a knower.
And what is the comparison of sowing a mango seed or
Observe.
sowing a neem seed? What is the comparison of that?
Uh,
Yes.
So you were saying that whatever seed the farmer sows, the same fruit he bears. So if the farmer sows mango seeds, he will bear mango fruit. If he sows neem seed, then he'll bear neem fruit. So it depends
Ah,
on what seed we sow, the fruits we enjoy, the karma or suffer based on that.
exactly. That's the point, the karma. Like, for example, all of you, students, if you see your life with your hands, legs, body, all these things, you are doing some activities which are in line with God. And there are also activities which are opposed to God's plans. So those which are opposed to God's plans, they are like neem seeds. And those who are in alignment with God's will, that is like the mango seeds. So therefore we all in this world are doing good and bad, by cultivating, mango seed and neem seed I was telling, good activities and bad activities. And we have to reap the consequences of our actions also. Very good. So you all brought it out very well. Okay, one last thing before we proceed to the next one. I also said about, did I say about our 5 senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses? Did I say about that? What are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses? The eyes, nose, ears, tongue and skin. These are the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And the eyes, all are in the head only. If you say eyes, nose, ears, mouth and then skin. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa, Gandha. And there are 5 working senses which are, hands, legs, genitals, rectum and speech. These are the total 10 senses in the body. So this body is given like a field to us. Okay, take this field. You have knowledge acquiring senses, you have action senses. Knowledge acquiring senses help you get knowledge from the environment around you. And it will gather information and take a photograph and give it to the mind. Mind is like this, you see. This is like the mind, and these are the 5 senses. Eyes, nose, ears, tongue and skin. They all gather information. Eyes see some poster on the road, it captures and gives to the mind. Similarly, the ears hear some nice song, it captures the information and gives to mind. Tongue tastes some nice sweet or something, it tells the mind that, oh, it's a very nice experience. So all the 5 senses supply information to the mind, which is like the central thing. And mind stores all the information. And all the 5 senses are supplying. So they are called knowledge acquiring senses, because they acquire the knowledge of the environment by these 5 perceptions and they supply it to the mind. And the working senses are hands, because with hands you can lift, you can grasp an object. Or if somebody comes to attack you, you can punch them. Or you can play mridanga, or you can play drums, you can play violin, or you can type in a computer. You can play table tennis. So many activities you do with your hand. In the same manner, your hand, your legs, your genitals. With genitals we reproduce. And with rectum we evacuate. And with our speech we communicate. So these 5 are called action senses. So you all can remember this. Hare Krishna. Dharvat, who is that? I am in a lecture to US. So my voice is a bit low, he is saying. Is it true? I can check whether volume is low. I'll check why it is so. Is my volume good enough?
We just put up speakers now. Now it's very good for you.
Siddesh, you are also able to hear well? Boston? Siddesh Pradhan? Okay. Why it is less? Because I am using this thing. Maybe I can remove this. Just 1 minute. Now it is better? Is volume better now? Only I can't hear your speak. 1 minute.
Thank you very much.
It's good. Oh, is it? See this if I put this mic, it reduces the volume, I think. Now it's better, I think. Okay. I'll speak without that. Okay. Siddesh, you are able to hear? I didn't hear a response from Siddesh. Anybody else from Boston?
Yes, Prabhuji, it is audible, clear.
Okay. So you all learned many things. Yeah, you all learned many things. Now you learned about knowledge acquiring senses, working senses, and the body itself, which is called all these are called as the field, and the knower of the field is yourself, and God is another knower of the field, and He is master, and we are servant. Many things you have learned now. Today we are proceeding to the one important verse in the same series. Please repeat this verse. This is verse number 5 in the same chapter. Rishabhir Gitam Chando Vividai Pratak
Chandabir Pratak
Brahma Sutra Padaischaiva
Brahma Sutra
Brahmasutra Padaischaiva
Hetu Madbhir
Hetu Madhvir Vinishchitai.
So please read the translation, one of you, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Translation. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect.
Yeah, it's what we are talking now. This subject is a very deep subject in the Vedas, and in Vedanta Sutra also. And several thousands of pages, rishis have discussed about it, and they have thoroughly understood the subject. And in Gita, we are getting the quintessence of all the Vedic knowledge. Gita is called as a Gita-Upanishad. We're getting all the essence. So let us read Prabhupada's purport. Please read it.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the highest authority in explaining this knowledge. Still, as a matter of course, learned scholar and standard authorities always give evidence from previous authorities. Krishna is explaining this most controversial point regarding the duality and non-duality of the soul and the supersoul by referring to a scripture, the Vedanta, which is accepted as authority. First, he says, this is according to different sages. As far as the sages are concerned, beside himself, Vasudev, the author of Vedanta Sutra, is a great sage, and
Second line.
some
Second line. Yeah. Second line.
in the Vedanta Sutra, duality is perfectly explained. And Vasudeva's father, Parasara, is also a great sage, and he writes in his book of religiosity, Aham Tvam Cha Tathanye. We,
Tanye.
you. We, you, I, and various other living entities are all transcendental, although in material bodies. Now we are fallen into ways of three modes of material nature according to our different karma. As such, some are on higher levels and some are in the lower nature. The higher and lower natures exist due to
Ignorance.
ignorance and are being manifested in an infinite number of living entities. But the super soul, which is infallible, is uncontaminated by three qualities of nature and is transcendental. Similarly, in the original Vedas, a distinction between the soul, the super soul, and the body is made, especially in the Katha Upanishad. There are many great sages who have explained this, and Parasar is considered principal among them. The word Chandobihi refers to the various Vedic literatures. The Taittiriya Upanishad, for example, which is branch of the Yajurveda, describes nature, the living entity, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So, till now, what we read now, is Prabhupada says that this subject, what we are discussing today, in the Bhagavad Gita in a lucid manner, this is all very vividly described in the Vedanta Sutra, and many, many great thinkers, seers, rishis, headed by Veda Vyasa, who is the chief one, who has put down all the Vedic literature and writing, have thoroughly discussed this subject matter with no ambiguity. So, all of us, when we study the subject, the very first aspect is to know the difference between matter and spirit. This is the very, very fundamental subject. What is matter? What is spirit? Can some of you tell me what are the characteristics of matter and how is spirit different from it? Like right now, all of us are spirit. We are all living bodies. But matter is different from us. There are at least 6 differences immediately you can think about. Anybody?
Matter can get destroyed, Prabhuji, but spirit will not get destroyed.
Yeah, the manifestations of matter gets destroyed. For example, our body, which looks like a handsome person, after some time you find the body gets old and diseased, and one day it leaves. It disintegrates and becomes, either it is turned to ashes, or if it is kept in a coffin, it just turns into, eventually mud or whatever. It mixes with everything. So it's destroyed. Whereas the spirit is never destroyed. Spirit can never be killed Spirit can never be cut with a scissor or something. Spirit can never be burned. Huh? That's one thing. Thank you. Anything else?
Matter is dead and spirit is alive.
Kaushal, matter is?
Matter is dead and spirit is alive.
Matter is always dead. Spirit is always alive. Just like if I put a gloves in my hand and move, the gloves appears to be alive. Huh? But if I take off my hand, the gloves will just drop. Huh? Gloves doesn't have life. The matter does not have life, but the matter, even our body is made up of matter, looks alive because we are present in it. I am seeing through the eyes, I am hearing through the ears, I am tasting through the tongue. So the living spirit. So that's one essential difference. Very good. Thank you. Anything else?
A spirit has consciousness. Matter does not have consciousness.
Yes. Matter has no consciousness, spirit has consciousness. Thank you. Anything else?
Spirit is subjected to change and transform, where spirit that's matter, and spirit is like unchanging.
Yes. Spirit is unchanging. And matter has changes. Yeah, matter changes from childhood to youth to old age and disease. It just changes, transforms. Huh? But spirit is always ever fresh and young and youthful and unchanging. Thank you. Yeah. So this is how the Vedanta Sutra begins. Huh? If you see, for example, the Mount Everest, in front of it, if there is an ocean, it cannot see the ocean, nor can the ocean see the Mount Everest, because both are dead entities. Two big dead entities cannot see each other. Whereas when the spirit is present, the spirit can see through the eyes. Spirit can see, spirit can hear, spirit can taste and all that. So it begins like this. The Vedanta Sutra goes into great detail about difference between matter and spirit. And then it is said that, oh Amrita Putra, huh? Oh children of immortality, you are spirit, but you are stuck in matter. Huh? The material body, which is like a baggage of flesh, bones, and all kinds of obnoxious substances. You are trapped in this body. And how you got trapped in the body is going to be explained in this chapter. To put it very simply, say, for example, you go to a hotel and you ask for the menu chart, and then you tick mark, you want these items. And then those items are brought to you. And then when you are eating, you may like some item, you may not like some item, isn't it? Similarly, the spirit has chosen to do certain activities in this world for which it needs the bodily instruments. And this body which you possess now, that is actually the instrument given by God to you, because you have requested for that instrument. It is given an instrument by which I can do certain things. And this chapter very nicely explains that. So now, if this body is giving me trouble, then how to get rid of the unwanted instruments and then get another suitable body which will actually lead to the eternal happiness of the soul. Like that one can think. That means, sometimes you get into a transaction where you realize you committed a mistake. So you put some money in a bank and the bank went bankrupt. Then you realized your mistake. Next time when you invest your money in a bank, you will be very much cautious to invest in a bank where the money will multiply and it will ultimately lead to your profits. In the same manner, this bodily instrument is given to us, and this bodily instrument is subject to three gunas, he says, tamaguna, rajaguna, sataguna, about which we will discuss another time. The three gunas, actually, to put it very simply, tamaguna, if you want to know, say, let us say there is a first floor, second floor, and third floor, a building with 3 floors. In the first floor, you see there are beer bars, permit room, people are drinking, smoking, watching cabaret dances and all that. And people are in a semi-state of consciousness because they are stoned in drugs and all that. Then you go to the second floor, there you find a gym. Now people are building their body. They are having treadmill. They are having a beauty parlor, saloon. They are enhancing their bodily beauty and all that. Or they're, shaping the body and all that. Then you go to the third floor. There you find there's a yoga studio where people are doing pranayam, yogasanas. And there is also a temple like your beautiful Brooklyn temple like that. There's a temple where kirtans are going on. Japa meditation is going on. So now if there are first floor, second floor, third floor, 3 buildings. The lowest one, the first floor is called tamaguna, or mode of ignorance, where they are having a permit room and beer bar and brothel and, cabaret dancers and drinking, smoking drugs and all that. When you go to the first floor, the gym and the beauty parlor, they are passionate people. They want to increase their bodily beauty and impress others, and they are attracted by glitter and glamour. That is the second floor. And the third floor, third floor is yoga studio where people are doing pranayam and yogasanas and they eat vegetarian food. And there's a temple where people do bhajans, kirtans, like all of you have chosen to come. So that is sattva guna. So many of you might have heard about these things before. Sometimes one or two might have joined who may not know, so I told about this. So these three gunas, they act on our subtle body or the mind. And they don't act without your choosing them to act. We choose. Just like you go to a shop and you pay the price and they'll give you the commodity, isn't it? Similarly, we all do actions and we pay the price and then we get those gunas activating our body. So these things will become more clear as you proceed. But in this particular purport, what he is saying is the authoritative knowledge is available in the Vedanta Sutra. Many rishis have discussed. Veda Vyasa also has discussed it. And in Gita, we are only getting the essence of all of it. It is pretty easy for us to understand in Gita. And then he's talking about Taittiriya Upanishad and all that. Please go ahead with this now, as stated before. Yeah, I can't hear the sound.
Yes, bro. As stated before, Kshetra is the field of activities, and there are two kinds of Kshetrajna, the individual living entity and the supreme living entity. As stated in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Brahma
Ucham Pradeshtha.
Pratishta. There is a manifestation of Supreme Lord's energy known as Annamaya, dependence upon food for existence. This is a materialistic realization of the Supreme. Then, in Pranamaya, after realizing the Supreme Absolute Truth in food, one can realize the Absolute Truth in the living symptoms or life forms. In Jnanamaya, realizations extends beyond the living symptoms to the point of thinking, feeling, and willing.
Second line.
Then there is Brahman realization called Vijnanamaya, is which the living entity's mind and life symptoms are distinguished from the living entity himself. The next and supreme stage is Anandamaya realization of the all blissful nature. Thus, there are 5 stages of Brahman realization, which are called Brahma Pucham. Out of these, the first 3, Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Jnanamaya, involve the field of activities of the living entities. Transcendental to all these fields of
second line.
Activities is the Supreme Lord, who is called Anandamaya. The Vedanta Sutra also describes the Supreme by saying Anandamaya Abhyasat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is by nature full of joy. To enjoy his transcendental bliss, he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Annamaya. In the field of activities, the living entity is considered to be the enjoyer, and different from him is the Anandamaya. That means that if the living entity decides to enjoy in doubting himself with the Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. This is the real picture of the Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of the field, the living entity as the subordinate knower, and the nature of the field of activities. One has to search for this truth in the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra. It is mentioned here that the quotes of the Brahma Sutra are very nicely arranged according to cause and effect. Some of the sutras or aphorisms are Na Vyad Ashruteha, Natma Shruteha, and Paratu Tachruteya. The first aphorism indicates the field of activities, the second indicates the living entity, and the third indicates the Supreme Lord, the summum bonum among all the manifestation of various entities.
So, Annamaya means when a child is born, the child drinks the breast milk of the mother and goes to sleep. And he doesn't know anything beyond that. Just eat food, go to sleep. Again, eat food, go to sleep. Even some worms you will see. They also eat some grass and they go to sleep. And pranamaya is a stage where you don't just eat and sleep. You start acting. You start doing hard work. Like pranamaya is characterized by a cutthroat competition in society for power, position, name, fame, and glory, climbing the corporate ladder of success. So that's pranamaya, where the living symptoms are prominent and living entities actually compete with one another. And manomaya is a stage where one dreams about success, like you think of a dream job or, dream this, dream that. Because things which are not achievable by you, by hard work, it is beyond you. You keep dreaming about it, and that's called aspiration or ambition, and you struggle for it. And many people are frustrated because of not able to attain their dreams. And then these three category of people live in the material world only. Annamaya means they're always food, that's all. Pranamaya means competing. Manamaya means living in a dream world, daydreamers. And these three people don't know anything beyond body and mind. Annamaya and Pranamaya knows only about the body. And the third one, Manomaya, knows about the mind. They don't know anything beyond that. Me and my mind, I like it, I don't like it, I hate him, I like him, and things like that. And these people, they are born, they walk on the surface of the globe, they run here and there, compete, somehow make money, one day they die, they don't know where are they going. The real life for you begins from the fourth and fifth platform. The fourth platform is Vijnanamaya, where you know that you are different from the body. Your spirit soul and the body is a field given to you. When you know that, then you are Vijnanamaya, you come. And then the fifth one is Anandamaya. You know that although I know I'm different from the body, my real happiness is when I turn to that Supreme Lord, who is also there in the same body, and he is Anandamaya. He's blissfully situated. By connecting with that all blissful person, I will also become blissful. Just like, if you put your fingers in a socket, electric socket, you get a shock. And somebody touches your body, they also get a shock. Similarly, the Lord is supremely happy. If you connect with him, you become happy. And then anybody connects with you, they become happy too. So the jiva can experience the ocean of happiness by connecting with the master, eternal master, supreme Lord, who is Anandamaya. So we are Vijnanamaya and he is Anandamaya. When we connect with him, then we also become Anandamaya. We experience great happiness. So in this way, now in the modern day society, if you see, there is a very big fight going on between one man and another man, or between one family and another family, or one country and another country. Fight for what? Fight for money, fight for power, fight for superiority. Who will be the boss and who will be the das? Who will control others and who will be subordinate? There's a big fight. This is pranamaya. And people are in pranamaya. So therefore, the world has become a very risky place, dangerous place nowadays, because all living beings are fighting on a material platform, thinking they are the bodies. But the first step in knowledge is to know we are not the body, I am spirit soul, Kshetrajna and the body, and that's Vijnanamaya. And then I have to become happy. How? By upward connection with the Lord, who also has come here in this world to be in the same body, to guide me and escort me, like a father escorting a son. So now the tomorrow session when we come, we are going to go deeper about how we are choosing our field and how we move from one field to another field. How do we move? How do we make the choices? So these things will become clear. I'll be taking 2 other verses tomorrow. We'll proceed to the next level tomorrow. Now today, in essence, we talked about the 5 Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. That was one thing we spoke. And then all this knowledge is given in the Vedanta Sutra. And in very, very great detail. Vedanta Sutra is considered to be the end of all the Vedas. In Sutra form, it's most respectable by all spiritualists across the globe. That talks in great detail about this Kshetrajna and everything. And one should know that these 2 Kshetrajnas are 2 different personalities. Some people wrongly consider that there is only one Kshetrajna. They think like that. Because we are only God. Some people think we are not God. We are God's property, or we are servant of God. So I will talk that point tomorrow when I begin, and then we will further proceed to understanding the choice made by the living entity for the different fields. Anybody want to share anything, or you want to ask anything? Any of you? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Puji. You
Krishna.
mentioned three
Yeah.
modes. The three modes are like in three floors. So first you
Yes.
said that all the like drinking, smoking, and all these things are in mode of ignorance, and the above
Correct.
that is mode of belief, where people are more bodily conscious. Beauty
Yes.
parlor and gym are there. Then
Yeah.
above that is mode of goodness, where there is kirtan going on, chanting going on. So that is one point I wanted to share.
I give such lucid examples because they are graphic and they're easy to remember and you can relate with them very easily, isn't it?
Yes,
You
Prabhu.
can understand the three gunas very easily. So in the tamaguna means people are drunken, they're smoking, or they're lazy, they're lethargic, and they oversleep, they are into stoned in drugs. So nowadays these three gunas are topic is becoming very famous because many people are beginning to understand how the three gunas are observable in the world all around us. Everywhere we can observe who is in which guna and how I can elevate myself to sattva and beyond. So that's why when we come to sattva, our vision becomes more clear. But when we are in tamaguna, rajaguna, our vision is impaired by those gunas. So when you understand the next a couple of classes, it will be very, very clear that how much amazing amount of choice God has given us. We have the ability to choose what we want. And He has given us the knowledge about it. He has given us the opportunity for it, but most people don't know about it. Most people are actually acting like robots, as if programmed by like a programmed robot. And that is why this chapter I told you all is a very important chapter because this chapter is going to increase your, that the scope of your choice. It's going to increase the scope of your carving your own destiny and increasing the scope of uplifting yourself. That's the reason I thought I will go a bit slow in this chapter instead of rushing through. Thank you. Anybody else want to say any takeaway point for you today? Quick, anybody? One point? And then we can conclude.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yeah?
Prabhuji, I like
Samaksh.
yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I like the five understanding of life. So, like this is very similar to Maslow's hierarchy. I was reading
Yes.
this Maslow's hierarchy management course, and like the way you said that the real life starts in the last two phases when we study about the spirit and when we study about how we can get happiness. So it made an impact. Yeah.
Exactly. Master says food, clothing, shelter. And then after that, he said the status. Then he said prestige. And then he said the self-actualization. He said. So what is the difference between self-actualization and self-realization? I'll just put it in the chat. See, there are two words. See, when Maslow says self-actualization, what they mean by that, self-actualization is material perfection. Self-realization is spiritual perfection. Now, what happens with material perfection? See, our material perfection has a limit. Recently, there were 10 top-notch, bestsellers, books published by 10 men who got awards also in the last few years, last 3-4 years or so. They got awards for the bestseller books, top 10 people in the world. So all of them wrote a sequel book, so that it will also become a million, millions of books will be sold. But some of them are so shocked that only few hundred books sold when they wrote a sequel book. It didn't go well. So out of this 10 of them, 5 of them committed suicide. Can you imagine? It's such a shocking thing. They were like great heroes because they wrote the bestseller books because they tried for self-actualization. Self-actualization means they tried for a material perfection. When they couldn't achieve it, they found a kind of plateau. They could not go beyond that. And then they committed suicide, not knowing what to do. But in self-realization platform, there is no limit for anybody. You will find when you read the scriptures that the spirit has unlimited capacity to do many, many things. So a poor man can become self-realized. Not only a rich man. A illiterate can become self-realized. Not only an educated man. The ugly man can become self-realized, not only a beautiful man. So you will see that self-realization is not limited by your brain or by your body shape or your place of birth or your gender or anything like that. Spirit is completely aloof from the body, and it is given 100% freedom of choice to grow out of his limits and then blossom his perfection. So this will become clear as we proceed in this chapter. So we want self-realization, which is beyond self-actualization also. Thank you. Anybody else? Any takeaway point? One point?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Deepak, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Like these three gunas you talked about, they act on us subtly, but if we allow them to do so, like you give the example of hotel and food, like if some food we like, some food we reject.
Yes.
In that way.
Correct. In this way, we are the gunas which we choose, then they conduct us. We will understand it more as we proceed in this chapter later. So therefore, we have to be very careful about the choices we make. And for that, first of all, we should understand that I have a choice. We don't have to be dragged by lower gunas like tamaguna, rajaguna here and there. So this chapter will increase our choice. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other point? One last point, anybody? Okay, thank you. We will meet tomorrow. Yeah. Who's going to say? Yeah, somebody was about to say. Yes.
Yes, true. I was about to say that Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Mayamaya.
Manomaya. Manomaya. Yeah.
They don't know beyond mind. They don't know beyond mind. They don't know the difference between body and spirit.
They don't know the difference between beyond body and mind. They have no other knowledge. But those who cross that and go to the fourth stage, Vijnanamaya, they are the ones who know the difference between spirit and the body. They know that the spirit is surrounded by body and mind. And body and mind are material and spirit is spiritual. So they know this very clearly. And those who are in Vijnanamaya, not only they know the spirit's difference from the body and mind, they also know that besides the spirit, there is a supreme spirit also in the body, who is also seated in the same body. And we can connect with that supreme spirit who is Anandamaya, and we can also experience that Ananda also. Then one comes to the ultimate perfection, the fifth stage. Thank you all very much. Let's meet tomorrow, okay? Hare Krishna.
You can take up this seva also, setting it up. I mean, yeah, my laptop is very slow, so that's why I cannot connect. So I always have to depend on someone.
My laptop is connecting well.
You can take it out.
For other companies,